listening to the Blue Jay Breakdown.
Welcome back to Blue Jay Shoot Around, where we are going to preview Creighton women's NCAA tournament draw. But first, I think we need to look back at the Big East tournament. Kind of a disappointing end to the season there for Creighton. What did you see out of the Blue Jays?
Yeah, that was a odd game to watch. Really surprising. You don't see Creighton's offense kind of fall apart like that often. Credit to Georgetown, really important, really big win for them, just for their team. But yeah, I think it is a disappointing loss. Offense just couldn't get going. Obviously, Jim Flannery was very frustrated with how things went. It just took all the starters out at one point. Late in that game was just really odd with all the lineup changes. I think the announcers were commenting, as I was watching, like, you just felt weird, that was really odd. You kind of just want to flush that one away and move on.
Yeah, it kind of seemed a lot like the Green Bay loss from the non-conference, where just nothing was really working, and Flan was like, "All right, you guys aren't getting it done. Just young kids get out there and see what happens."
Right.
So that's an unfortunate time to have a game like that, and unfortunately, it may have. I mean, that was kind of their last chance to earn another shot against UConn to get their kind of true top end blue chip win, and they finished 25-5, but again, no true top end wins that in terms of someone that ended up being a top seed in the NCAA tournament, and as a result, they drew a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, which I think pretty surprising. It just seemed like the committee didn't really value the Big East really at all.
Yeah, it was really surprising for me. They were kind of stuck on that 6th line kind of all season based on projections, and you kind of understood they didn't have the big time win. The Big East wasn't particularly deep, but you're 25-5. You beat multiple tournament teams. Nebraska, which is a seed line above them. Michigan State, another good team. Marquette, you split with Marquette. So I think they definitely deserved. I would have put them as a 6. I expected a 6, and they definitely did not catch a break with their matchup either.
Yeah, and then Marquette, they were a 10 seed, was that right? Yeah, 10 seed. Mm-hmm. So you have Creighton, the 7, Marquette at 10, and then UConn up there. Were they at 2?
3.
3. So again, just the not a lot of respect for the Big East Conference, and I think that's probably a larger discussion moving forward. You kind of need the rest of the league to pick it up. You had some teams kind of really fall off. And there just wasn't a lot of good wins to be had in the conference. Yeah. And Creighton not being able to get it done against UConn was their kind of real big missed opportunity, because they didn't really get many shots in the non-conference to face that. They played some good teams, but it wasn't packed with kind of top-tier, top 10 type of teams. So it is probably a little disappointing to get the seed they were, but I know Emma Ronsick talked about how she did not look at any of the bracketology at all, really, and just kind of went in not knowing what to expect. So hard to be disappointed if you don't expect something different than what you get, right? Yeah. So, as the 7 seed, they drew a 30-2 UNLV team as the 10 seed there, and 2 losses all season, but one of them was a blowout to Seton Hall. You mentioned kind of interesting result there, and then only other loss is a 3-point loss to New Mexico in league. So UNLV, they are a pretty good offensive team, and they defend the 3 well. And they have a 6'1" center in Desiree Young, who is putting up 18 and 9 and really efficient inside the arc. So just on first blush, seems like a tough matchup for Creighton and the way they're built and the way they play.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a tough draw. UNLV's another team that could have been a seed line or 2 higher. Enter on a 15-game win streak. So this is not, this is a tough situation for Creighton. Obviously, a game that they can win, and they are the higher seed. So it's going to be really interesting. They've given up some big games to the best post players. So that's an area they've got to lock in on with Young, who doesn't have like elite size, but still really great at that position, and they're just a well-balanced team. So it's going to be challenging. I think it's going to be a really fun matchup too.
Yeah, between Ronsick and Molly, whoever draws that assignment for the majority of that game, they're going to have to do a really good job. And Ronsick in particular has to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah.
We've seen that at times in the past where her having to guard opposing posts, she's sometimes we'll pick up a couple a foul here or there where maybe you would like to see her avoid. So she's going to have to be locked in, making sure that does not happen because they need her on the court out there. Just with kind of how the depth has taken hits throughout the season and really relying on that core group. And for this senior group, like this is kind of their last run together. Obviously, they can come back next year, but they're all kind of waiting. So I think they're all approaching that like, all right, this is our last run together with this group. So, it's a tough matchup, but it's certainly Creighton's a higher seed for a reason. They're 25-5, like you talked about. They're a really good team. They've made runs in the NCAA tournament the last couple of years. Like they've got some good experience there, and they've got players that know how to show up on the big stage. So anytime you've got a trio like Lauren Jensen, Emma Ronsick, and Morgan Molly, you're going to have a chance. So if they are able to get through this first round, waiting on the other side of the bracket will likely be the 2 seed UCLA, who's hosting out there in LA, and should probably note that this game is on Saturday, so you're going to have to wait a while. 6 p.m. Central Time if you're going to be watching at home. Hopefully, if the men advance, they'll play again on Saturday. Hopefully, those times don't overlap for the Creighton fans' sake. But if they are able to get that done, then, UCLA drew the 15 seed Cal Baptist. And shout out to Chloe Lemon, Millard South graduate. She has had a fantastic freshman season there for Cal Baptist, averaging 12 points a game as a freshman. So if any fans are going out there, I think you can go ahead and root for Cal Baptist in that other game out there. Obviously, besides just rooting for the crazy upset, easier. Much rather see a 15 seed, but there is a familiar face there. I'm sure there'll be a good group of Millard South supporters out there with Jamie Horan on Creighton's side and Chloe on Cal Baptist. But UCLA, they're tough. 2 seed for a reason, and they're 25-6, went 13-5 in the Pac-12. And Lauren Betts. She is a problem. 6'7" center. We talked about. Desiree Young's not doesn't have huge size, but she's really talented. Well, Betts has that size and she has the talent. About 15-9 a game there. 2 blocks a game. Shooting 65% from the field. That's going to be a really tough matchup for them. And then they've got some talent around her as well. Yeah. They got 4 players averaging double figures. Charisma Osborne, 14.5, 4 assists. Kiki Rice, 12.5, 4.5 assists. And London Jones, 12 points, shooting 38% from 3, which that is kind of the one thing you're looking at them as a potential weakness is they don't shoot the 3 well as a team. So I think that's got to be, if Creighton gets to that point, that's got to be it's got to be a good shooting game for Creighton. We know they're capable of getting hot. That's got to be the equalizer because they're going to have a tough time slowing down Betts.
Yeah, I think you look at a lot of the top teams outside of South Carolina can have kind of had some inconsistencies this season. So, it's not like they're totally, invulnerable. So that'll be something to watch for sure. UCLA has definitely had some of those inconsistencies. I mean, when they lost in the Pac-12 tournament, that was a kind of ugly finish to that game for them. But that was, it's going to be a tough matchup. Lauren Betts, obviously that's the main thing you worry about, but that's just a really talented team. So it is a very, very tough road for Creighton.
Yeah, no doubt. But this is the time of year they put themselves in position where you can go out and earn it.
Yeah.
And you would have liked a little higher seed, but it is what it is. And so they've got some tough matches ahead. Just kind of looking at the bracket, is there anything else that stands out to you on the women's side from the draws or Creighton's region or anything at all that kind of you saw and you're like, oh, that's interesting?
Yeah, I think that the whole bracket is really interesting. Obviously, you avoid they're in the region with Iowa and LSU.
Yeah. So if they somehow get past LSU, well, there's Angel Reese probably waiting for you. Yeah. So good luck, Creighton.
You make a Sweet 16 run, and you got the defending champs waiting for you. It would have to be going through the gauntlet to make it very far.
UCLA, LSU, Iowa, potentially like that's Creighton's run if they can get past UCLA. Or get past UNLV.
So that is That's the region everyone's looking at for the big time matchups. So
yep. So it's, I mean, is what it is. You got to go out and play well. That's ultimately what this is going to come down to. We've seen Nebraska in the past, knock off Iowa on that Lauren Jensen game winner. They've had some big moments in March before, and this is a really experienced team. So just got to hope that whatever happened in the Big East tournament, they can flush it, move on, and play their best basketball because it's a good team and kind of making their last run as is currently constructed here. So this has been Blue Jay Shoot Around. Drake will be back to recap Creighton's tournament run after we see kind of how this first tournament goes. Stay tuned to hurrdatsports.com, to Hurrdat Sports, our social feeds. Stay tuned to Drake. He'll have covered as well as best he's able. So we will be back again next week.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.